In this lesson we'll be learning about the shape tween. It's also known as morphing. Basically it lets you create an effect that makes one object appear as though it's slowly turning into another object. Flash makes this fairly easy for us. We can do it with simply using two keyframes. We put one shape in the first keyframe, then we create the second keyframe, put in the second shape, or the shape that the one shape will morph into, and then apply the shape tween. And I'll demonstrate that now. I'm just going to create a new file. I'll choose ActionScript 3.0. And I'll start on the default first keyframe. I'll just create something with my pen tool here. And maybe I'll just choose a brighter color. I'll choose a green fill and a black outline. So I'm just going to draw a random sort of shape with some straight lines, some curved lines. And we will ultimately morph this into another shape. Maybe I'll make a polygon or a star. Okay, so there's my initial shape. Let me just use my bucket tool to fill that with the fill color. Okay, so that's my first keyframe, and it is a shape. And I'm just going to go down my timeline here, and maybe I'll shrink my timeline view to small. And I'm going to select frame number 50. I'm going to right click on it, and I'm just going to insert a blank keyframe. Okay, now in this frame, I'm going to go to my polygon tool, or polystar tool, sorry, and click on the properties before I start, and click on tool setting options. I want to set it to star, and I guess I'll live with the 5 points, and I'll leave the transitional point at halfway, which means the star will have its inner points halfway from the center to the exterior of the star, if you will. Let me click OK with this and close my properties. I'll try a different color. We'll go with maybe the bright red. And I'll change the stroke color to blue. Okay, and now I'll just draw a star here. And I'm just going to move that on the stage a little bit. I'll double click it and just reposition that. So what I want to do is I want to go from this shape to this shape, and I want to make it look like it's slowly and surely melting one into the other. So the first thing I need to do now is actually highlight that first frame and convert that into a shape tween. I can right click on that frame and choose Create Shape Tween. And you'll notice in your timeline that it goes a light green, and you should see what looks like a long line with an arrowhead at the end. And if I scrub my playhead, lo and behold, it starts to change its position, shape, and color into the red star with blue keyline. It is as simple as that, but I'm going to show you a more advanced way of controlling this now. If I want to see this in action, I just hit my return key. And there we go. Shape tween, also known as morphing. Now let me show you a couple of other features. Let me click on this first keyframe again. Go to my properties. You'll notice under tweening there's this ease control. Basically, ease lets you either accelerate or decelerate from the one keyframe to the next. If it's a negative number, I believe it starts quickly and slows down. But let's find out. And let me just go extreme here. I can click and drag this and make it minus 100. And I'll just close that. And I'll hit my return key. Yes, so it basically speeds up at the end. You'll notice here it starts slow and then speeds up. And that's the negative 100. And it would be more exaggerated over more frames. So let me set my timeline to tiny view. I'll just click here, and I can hit F5 on the keyboard to add frames to this, and I'll just go up to about 85. And then I'll hit my play button, or rather my enter button. Starts slow and speeds up. Let me go back to frame 1, highlight that keyframe, go back to my properties. And I'll change this to a positive number. I'll just go positive 100. And this time it should start fast and slow down by the end of it all. So let me hit my return key. And I think that's fairly obvious over these 85 frames. I'll hit that again, hit my return key. Starts fast and then slows down. So that's the ease in, ease out feature. Let me just talk about one more feature in the properties. Again, I will highlight that first keyframe. It's the blend, distributive versus angular. Basically, distributive means that the corners will start to round out, where angular would retain the sharp corners. I'd say most of the time we do leave it on distributive, and that is the default setting for the blend. So again, easing out at 100, positive number, slows it down towards the end. And here I hit my enter key one more time. And that is the shape tween. Now there's this other feature known as shape hints. When you have a complex shape, you might want to control where the beginning point lines up with an end point. And let me just demonstrate that. We've got a 5-point star. So I'm going to create 5 shape hints on the first frame. And they do also appear on the second frame, and maybe it's just easier to demonstrate this. Let me go back to frame 1. Modify, shape, add shape hints. Okay, modify shape, add shape hints. I'm on a Macintosh here, and you can see it's Command Shift H. If I was on a PC, it would be Control Shift H. And you see it makes one red dot. Now I need to snap this to the line somewhere. So I'm going to snap this to this point up here and create 4 more shape hints. So I use my keyboard shortcut. Assuming I'm on a PC, Control Shift H. And I'll do 5 of those. So Control Shift H. Put one down here. And it does snap. Control Shift H down here. Now what I need to do is, if you notice, oh, one more, sorry. Control Shift H. You'll notice that these are red. That's telling me that they have not been snapped to its partner on the other keyframe. So let me move my playhead down to this other keyframe. And here they all are in the center. So if I snap this down here, you see how that turned green. That means that that will transition the letter E to this point. So I'm going to go backwards around the clock here and put them on all the corners. Okay, so now that they're green, I know that these will take effect. And I'll just drag the playhead back and forth. And you can see A converts to the A point, B, C, D, E. Now if I wanted to, say, put B down here and A over here, there will be a subtle difference. Basically watch this corner. This corner is going to convert to the top peak because I set the letter A on both of those. Now if I set the letter A over here, that corner spot in the first frame is going to convert to this rather than to this. And you'll watch this now. Now I'm getting a lot of twisty feels around here, so if I wanted to mess around with that, and they don't need to be clockwise, that was just a good way to start. Now I'm just completely messing around with it. And I can expect some crazy transitions, if you will. Actually, that seems a bit more straightforward. But that is known as shape hints. And they do need to be snapped to both objects for them to work. Let's say I had these sitting out here. When it's red, it means that that's not going to have any effect. So if I put that there, that back up there, go back to my first frame. Maybe put that there, put this down here, this in here, and we'll just see what we get here. And you see how point A and B, I'll just go the extra frame here, held true to those points. So if I want C to line up with this, I just need to go back here, and let's say I'll use this corner and that will convert to that other point. As you can see right there. Now how do I remove shape hints? I simply drag them off the stage. So if I don't want B, I drag it off. And you notice the icon on the cursor changes to a circle with a minus running through it. And this is how I remove shape hints. So if I only wanted the 3, I'm left with 3. Let me just move this maybe to the top. And I'll only have those 3. But I have less control over it. But you saw how B kind of held tight to this bottom peak and A held tight to the top peak. So that's basically the roundhouse story on shape tweening and how to gain more control by using shape hints.